area of the BDA toolkit and the 12 steps of DA. Welcome, Taylor.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I'm a debtor and business owner. Super grateful to be here with you guys. Happy holidays. Thank you, Micheline, for asking me to share. It's such an honor and a privilege. And especially at this meeting, it feels like I've always been like, when am I gonna ever share at that big DA meeting? It's like, I remember when I first came in and being so intimidated by this meeting. And also so moved by it and the power of the shares and the recovery. And I'm a little nervous. I'm just going to say that so that it goes away, because I've learned in recovery that that's what I need to do, is be as authentic and vulnerable and honest as possible. And welcome to all the newcomers, because this is really for you guys. I hope that I can say something that's helpful to you and brings you hope. So anyway, what it was like, I'm going to be brief. I grew up in a home, I'm a multi-program user. DA was my third of 4 programs. I grew up in a home affected by alcoholism, family lineage, dysfunction, especially around money, middle class, suburbs in Northern California, nice home, kind of like idyllic childhood. My dad was a residential realtor. So he would get these big paychecks and then nothing for long periods of time. So there was this very like, woo, when's dad's next paycheck? And like a lot of seeming abundance followed by a lot of lack. And, or, can we afford that? Can we do this? I never got money for back to school shopping. I lived in a really wealthy community, so it's like there was this kind of keeping up with the Joneses mentality. My friends had these big houses and they would get all this money for back to school shopping. I didn't know what that was. I hated shopping. I still kind of hate shopping to this day, because I'm like, I would rather wear the same like hoodie and comfortable clothes every day if left to my own devices. But yeah, so, and then we lost, my dad hadn't been paying taxes unbeknownst to all of us. And when I was 13, I came home from school and there was a notice on the door that said, your house is going up for auction on Sunday. And I thought it was a joke. And it was not a joke. Then like later I saw my dad and my mom walking the dog down the street. They like didn't get along. They loved us, didn't like each other. My sister and I, they loved us. I'm like, oh, mom and dad are getting along. It's so nice to see they're actually like going on a walk together. That's nice. And they come, thank you. And my dad sits us down and says like, okay, well, I have something to tell you, and we're losing the house. I'm going to try. He tried to save it, tried to get the neighbors to buy it. Didn't work out. So anyway, that's the past. All of those things, it's like, I'm so grateful for all my recovery and also for Al-Anon, because it's like, I don't have like a lot of I've worked through all of those, like the pain and the resentment and the like, how dare you? And like, why couldn't I just have functional parents? Like, it's sad and it's heartbreaking, but I know that they were just doing the best they can with the tools that they were given. And they haven't been blessed to find these rooms yet. I pray for them frequently. So anyway, I got sober, but I wasn't earning. I got sober from drugs and alcohol. I went to Al-Anon and it was like, I was majorly under earning. I felt like I couldn't function. And a friend brought me to a DA meeting and an earner burn Tuesday night in Santa Monica, still my home group. And I was like, I identified, but I wasn't ready. I hadn't done the steps. I couldn't there were a lot of stuff needed to be cleared out so I could think clearly. And I did that work. And so I heard about it, left, and then I hit a bottom with the finances and came back. Thank God. Like, cried in my first meeting on my knees with willingness, ready to go. And I knew from my previous experience in 12 step that when I did all the things, meetings, sponsor, steps, phone calls, like stuff got better. my life drastically changed. So I thought maybe it could work for the money and for my terror around money, as my sponsor says. And so I did, and I had the willingness. I got a sponsor. I started working the steps. Jackie is my sponsor. She's amazing. I don't know if she's here, but I love her. And so I did all that, and it started to get better. And like I had a PRG. If you're new, like PRGs are amazing. It stands for Pressure Relief Group. You can have two people, typically a man and a woman, but nowadays, gender, who knows, whatever you're comfortable with, there's no right or wrong. And that support, like Jerome and Jackie gave me my first PRG, and it was like magical. I'm like, who are these strangers sitting at Coogie's Cafe, like looking at, and by the way, you like have to bring all your numbers. So that's the other thing I wanted to say. First thing first, DA for me is about the numbers. Well, God first, but the numbers. God is in the numbers. If I'm not doing my numbers on a daily basis, it's like, I'm going to AA meetings, but smoking pot and thinking like, but I'm going to the meetings, you know?
That's 6 minutes.
Thank you. So for me, it's like foundational. And like when I came in, if that's scary to you, like don't worry, because when I came into DA, the thought of taking my numbers on a daily basis was like, made me want to vomit. And I thought it was crazy and neurotic, and I judged it. So just keep coming back. But I will say, like, once I surrendered, I was like, okay, let me try a different way. There's such peace and clarity that comes from doing the numbers. And I don't do it perfectly, but for the most part, I keep them on a daily basis. And if I get a couple days behind, I start to feel like wonky, like mail starts piling up, like I'm late everywhere. I'm like, what is that? Like, then I just stop everything, do the numbers for 10 minutes and like, oh, I can open my mail. I can like, I'm showing up on time again. Like it's so interconnected. And also any decisions that I'm making when I go to the numbers, my sponsor had me keep them in this calendar, like by hand, paper, which I love doing them by hand, one day at a time, pluses and minuses, earnings, expenses, add them up at the end of the week, add them up at the end of the month. Super simple. It was visual. There's something about the pencil to paper. I did that for years. And I'm so, so grateful because there was something about doing it that way that I could do. Now it's like then I like graduated to like a Google spreadsheet, which is great now because I have like digital records of everything. But there's still something really magical, I think, about keeping your numbers by hand. So that's my pitch about the numbers. Oh, 15. Yay. Okay, cool. Oh, let there be time. Yeah, so just you can tell me when I have 5. I don't know. You can just tell me what you want to tell me. So grateful for that. So that side note, when I was thinking about this share this morning, I was thinking about like the anxiety of the 10-minute share. And I was like, there will be no time deading. We must be efficient. It was like, toot. And then I'm like, oh, God just gave me time because it's really hard for me to be concise. And I always like, especially when I'm in the moment, because I feel like when I share in meetings, so much of the time things come from being in the moment that I couldn't have planned or anticipated. And I'm so grateful for that. But I was like, this is like share for some reason. I was like, should I take notes? Because this is the big DA meeting. And I was like, no, because then that's going to be such a weird, like planned share. So just decided against that. Anyway, back to the numbers. So yes, numbers. I did them last night because I thought like, oh, you definitely want to be clear going into this meeting. And I'm so grateful for that gift because once I started doing that, magically, I had clarity. I could see that I wasn't earning when I came in. I could see that I was spending $20 a month on cigarettes. Like, and that was kind of part of the thing that helped me quit smoking, honestly. Because I thought like I'd never been like a smoker, but I had slowly become one in sobriety. And I was like, oh my God, I'm spending $20 a month on cigarettes? Like, no fucking way, excuse me. And so that was part of it. that clarity. And then of course, I had to like call people and use other tools in order to the phenomenon of craving and all of that. But that was one way that I was checking out. And so that first PRG with Jackie and Jerome, they had this idea of like my business, and I was teaching some swim lessons, and they're like, this is such a beautiful business for you. And Jackie had a very clear image, and she's like, I see you with this business and then maybe a teaching career. So I was like, okay, mind you, I just like really wanted to be an actor and an artist when I came in, but I wasn't really like, I was playing some music but I wasn't really earning from that. So at that point it was a hobby, which kind of like my sensitive artist soul was like, it's not a hobby. But like it was a hobby that I loved very much. I wasn't earning from it. And that has shifted over time. But for that day, that was the reality. And because of that, like I had to earn or burn. So I learned to say yes in this program. And I always share that when I was doing all these earning jobs, I didn't know, like, I had this ego. Had a degree from UCLA. I had this, all these, like, why would I just do some little swim coach job at the YMCA? Because I needed a sobriety job, simple, that I could show up and clock in. So I did that. And my old sponsor in AA called me out of the blue, and she was like, hey, I have this lady that I met, and her name's Shannon, and she's so wonderful. And she has this little company where she teaches kids to sew and sew, like sewing by hand. And I thought of you. And I was like, okay, but I don't know how to sew. And she said, well, just call her. She's super nice. I think you love her. And I was like, oh my God, she just needs people who are good with kids. And I knew I was good with kids. So I did. Like, I didn't want to. The lady was nice. We had a nice chat, and she was like, oh, don't worry. I teach kindergartners to sew. Just come to my office. I'll teach you. I just need good people. So I said yes, thinking this is the craziest thing ever. I don't even like sewing. And I did it, and like she was so nice, and it was actually kind of fun. And I thought, okay, and it paid well. It was like $35 for like 1 hour. Like it was not a lot of hours, and I would go into these private schools in the afternoon for after school enrichment and teach the kindergartners and first graders how to sew by hand. And I built relationships, and I learned how to be in a classroom. And then I went to this place, this institution that I love. And then my sponsor was like, why don't you get a credential for substitute teaching? And that would be great for income. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be a sub. But I did it. And I went through LAUSD and all these steps that were so painful because I learned how to do those things 10 minutes at a time in this program. And I did all those actions, and then like I got the pass the test. And then 3 minutes, thanks. And I yada lot, like I just did the next thing. That's what I learned how to do in this program, just the next little thing. And I let this school know that I was available for substitute teaching and said, great, we love you. The kids love you. They called me the next week and said, hey, actually, we have a part-time job available. We lost a teacher. Would you be interested? Like I didn't sub for one day in my life. I didn't go to LAUSD. I didn't do any of that stuff that I was like, I don't want to do that thing. But I did it anyway. And then God gave me this little job. And then they're like, gave me a better job. And then they gave me a full-time with benefits. And still to this day, it's like now I'm like, my vision is beyond that institution. But that has been the biggest gift in stability. And like this job that I actually really love, and this institution that I really like believe in. And I don't think I could teach a lot of places, but I can teach there. And then I have my business, which is really abundant. I teach kids to swim, and I also teach kids private music lessons. And then I have my artist career, which is really like becoming more abundant and growing. During this COVID time, I released my first album in June. Thank you, Mindy. And it was like such a miracle of recovery because literally like I started writing these songs in early sobriety when I was like depressed and miserable. And that was like the only thing that soothed my soul. But the gift of all this music came out of me, and I was like writing prolifically and started recording, but I couldn't have actually like done it and recorded it and got the other musicians and all the things and like everything that goes with making an album, which is more than I ever could have imagined, if it wasn't for DA. because DA taught me to do things 10 minutes at a time. DA taught me to bookend actions that I feel are overwhelming, which bookending is calling somebody before and after. And the latest thing is I hired someone who's here, who's amazing, who's helping with my music marketing, because I was like, okay, next level, like I can't do this alone. And thank you, Conchetta. Like, I just love you so much. And it's like taken me to the next level of being visible and being seen. And I just spent Christmas Eve in Joshua Tree with my puppy, Frankie. I thought he might join us, but he's sleeping on the couch. And I like showed up. I went to see my mom for 2 days. I stayed at a hotel. Thanks, I'll wrap. But I made the choice. I was like, I want to honor how I'm feeling and give myself the gift of this serenity. And wherever you go, there you'll be. So if I was miserable and I went to Joshua Tree, I would have been miserable in Joshua Tree. But because I've worked this program and the steps, I had this peace and serenity. And it was really beautiful and magical and spiritual. So I'm so grateful. And I wish you guys all blessed recovery. And last thing I'll say, I'm sorry, I'm over, is today's Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa to anyone that celebrates. And I thought, like, I love the high holy days. I'm not a religious person, but all the holidays. And I'm like, let me look it up. What more of the history? And it actually is the celebration of the harvest and the gratitude for all of the work and the community and all the things. And I thought, how beautiful is that to be here with you guys and celebrating the harvest of recovery and all the work that we've done. So I'm so grateful for all of you, and thanks for letting me share.
Woo!
Awesome share.
Thank you. Perfect share.
Share.
Thanks, Taylor.
Good job.
Thank you, Taylor.